What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. As always, keeping you updated on all the latest news, because if I don't, I might get some backstage heat from Vince McMahon and he might just take me off TV, and nobody wants that. So let's just go ahead and get right into it. This upcoming weekend, we got the Wwe Fastlane Pay-per-View being headlined by the Universal Championship match, Daniel Bryan taking on Roman Reigns with a special enforcer. WWE also ended up advertising a couple of other matches, including Shane McMahon versus Braun Strowman, who are currently having one of the most ridiculous storylines that we have seen. The only thing that we know about the storyline right now is that apparently Shane McMahon is the heel as he continues to call Braun Strowman stupid. They are basically humiliating Braun Strowman on television, so we knew it was going to be headed towards a match at WrestleMania. This past week though, WWE surprised us and actually announced it for the Fastlane Pay-per-View, and now it seems like they just canceled that match. This Braun Strowman versus Shane McMahon match has disappeared from WWE's promotion for WWE Fastlane, and the speculation is that the match won't be happening at this Sunday's pay-per-view, and it looks like just as originally planned, WWE will continue to build towards it for WrestleMania. I'm not necessarily too upset about it, because when you think about it, this means that the WrestleMania match, which we know is gonna happen, is not going to be a rematch of what we just got on Fastlane. I like it when the WrestleMania match card has fresh matches and matches that we haven't seen before, especially on the pay-per-view before. So again, it might not be a bad thing. Maybe at Fastlane they book a segment between these two guys instead, and hopefully this time around it's not as ridiculous of Shane McMahon just telling us how much stupid Braun Strowman is. On to some other news. We had Andrade confirming that yes, he requested his release from WWE. He posted a statement over on his official Twitter account indicating the following: "The rumors are true and I don't know what the future holds, but I want to make my dreams come true. Thank you for giving me so much support these last days." He then went on to say it in Spanish. As we discussed before, these reports and rumors started coming out last week after Monday Night Raw, as that was said to be the day that he asked for his release. The former NXT champion was said to be miserable backstage, of course unhappy that he hasn't been used on television and that WWE hasn't treated him the right way. He was not backstage this week on Raw, and his return, if it does happen, is probably not gonna happen anytime soon. Before taking time off, the last time that we got to see him was around the time of the 2020 WWE draft last October. Things changed fairly quickly after Paul Heyman was let go of his executive director position on Monday Night Raw. Andrade was a major focus earlier on last year, was said to be one of the brand new stars that WWE was building up to be main event level for the next couple of years. Once Heyman was taken down at that executive position, everything went downhill from there, with him getting into some tag team action, then splitting from Zelina Vega, and WWE just not doing anything with him. When they kid off, Andrade had an amazing feud with Rey Mysterio for a couple of months, one that was just simply demonstrating who was the best luchador. They had some of the best matches that we got to see in late 2019 and in 2020. All of that momentum was literally destroyed simply because Paul Heyman didn't have any creative control anymore and Vince McMahon didn't see anything in him. Some quick highlight from AEW Dynamite and NXT. AEW gave us a heck of a main event with Thunder Rosa and Dr. Britt Baker as they brought around the ringside area and in the crowd, and several weapons were used, literally making this one of AEW's best matches and a star-making performance for both of them, ending in Thunder Rosa putting Britt Baker through a ladder with a Death Valley driver, and it wasn't even over just yet. To end it off, we had Thunder Rosa hitting a Fire Thunder driver through a table at ringside after some vicious action in the middle of the ring, which was filled up with tags. Backstage reports indicate that Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa got a standing ovation backstage at AEW Dynamite from Tony Khan and the whole roster, which I'm not surprised because it was an amazing main event. AEW's MJF new faction also got a name, that being the Pinnacle. For NXT, it has been made official at NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver, Finn Balor would defend the NXT champion against Karen Cross. All of this was set up after what went down on this week's NXT broadcast. Finn Finn Balor ended up teaming up with Karrion Kross, taking on the NXT Tag Team Champions Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch, which led to what was expected, Kross getting the best out of Finn Balor at the very end, setting up the match. Stand and Deliver TakeOver will be a 2-night event. The first night will air on April 7 on the USA Network, and the second night will be right after on Peacock in the United States and on WWE Network elsewhere. Onto some quick news, and this one is a bit of a surprise. WWE ended up adding another name to the 2021 Hall of Fame class. Molly Holly was the first one being announced last week, and this week they just announced Eric Bischoff. This one is a bit odd to say the least, considering that over the last couple of months we've seen Eric Bischoff show up on AEW Dynamite at least 3 to 4 times. Obviously he doesn't have a contract with them, he is only making special appearances, so I'm surprised that they are allowing this right now, because usually they will have a problem with something like this. And I wonder if this means that Eric Bischoff maybe cannot show up on AEW Dynamite until at least his Hall of Fame ceremony goes down. I guess we will have to wait and see. Some more backstage news. It seems like there is some backstage heat on Charlotte Caruso, and that is the reason why we haven't seen her on television as of late. Fightful Select reported that the reason for her not being on WWE programming is due to her upsetting a lot of WWE officials backstage, including Vince McMahon, after consistently being late to conduct interviews at Monday Night Raw events. It was noted where there have been specific occasions with Randy Orton and Sheamus that led to WWE taking Charlotte Caruso off television for the time being. She was said to be late on those interviews with these two superstars and others. Vince McMahon ended up hearing about all of this and took exception to the situation, instructing producers to keep her off television. A source told Fightful Select that Charlotte Caruso is one injury or illness away from being back in the fold, in addition to indicating the hiring of Kevin Patrick early on this month was seen as a direct replacement for Charlotte Caruso. This past Monday, he worked as a backstage interviewer in addition to hosting Raw Talk, which is usually something that Charlotte Caruso do. And although not confirmed, some wrestlers believe that Charlotte Caruso's contract expires soon. There has been no words yet on whether she intends to stay with WWE, as she also has her big job with ESPN. On to some other news, we just had Seth Rollins going off on Cesaro. As we know, they are going at it on SmackDown, building up to a potential WrestleMania match. And while speaking to Alec McCarthy of Talk Sports, Cesaro had a lot of praises to say about his feud with Seth Rollins. However, something Cesaro said must have upset Seth Rollins, as he went on Twitter and unloaded on Cesaro on a series of anger-fueled tweets. This included him referring to what Vince McMahon said on Stone Cold Steve Austin podcast a few years ago. Vince McMahon said that certain superstars lacked the it factor and found it difficult to connect with the fans the way a top WWE superstar should, even referring Cesaro. Seth Rollins went on to indicate the following: Cesaro is a coward, used to be a really good friend, and now look at him, turned down my help and now wants to ride my cocktails into WrestleMania? Huge waste of potential, doesn't deserve my consideration. Vince McMahon was right about him. Again, going by what everything Seth Rollins been saying and how they building this matchup off, it certainly feels like they're gonna go at it on one-on-one competition at WrestleMania, which will certainly be Cesaro's biggest WrestleMania match and well deserved of it. This one is intensifying and I am all down for it. Anyways guys, thank you for joining. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you enjoy or found it informative, don't forget to elbow drop it and hit those notifications. Stay savage and I'll see you on the next one.